Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am playing with this gorgeous stencil from Brutus Monroe. I've pulled out a couple of Velveteen glazes, this one in Dijon and this one in Peach Bellini. Figured this would go great with Lana and her shirt. So let's see what I can do. So when I am first starting out with this layout, you guys, I'm thinking my background is going to be this white sheet of paper, and I'm going to just use this khaki colored cardstock as my photo mat because it's a nice neutral color. I figure it will go great with the Dijon and Peach Bellini Velveteen Glaze colors. I'm like, yeah, this is going to work. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put my stencil. And then I was like, maybe I'll just do quadrants. And I was like, no. I need to do something different just besides putting the stencil straight on my background. What am I going to do different? And I come up with this idea. And for a while, you're not going to know what I'm doing that's different. Because it does look like I am just going straight at it and putting it on the background, but I promise it's going to look different. Now, I am using my fingers. Guys, I almost said baby. I don't know what is wrong with me, but lately when I'm doing voiceovers, like random words are just popping out of my mouth. Like the other day, I said purse. No idea why. Wasn't talking about bags, wasn't doing anything like that, but purse came out of my mouth. Almost said baby, which is what I call my husband sometimes. Baby or babe, you know, love terms. So I guess I just love all of you guys and I'm calling you all babe. So now I don't even remember what I was getting ready to tell you. Oh, finger. Why am I using my finger for Velveteen glazes? You guys, it makes me happy. That's why I do it. When I play in my art journal, when I play with paint, I like letting out my inner slob. I just have a good time with it. It reminds me of kindergarten and playing with finger paints and, you know, those bright tempera color paints. And it evokes an emotion inside of me that just like gives me chills and makes me feel good. So if finger painting does that for you, then go for it. Like, who's going to judge you? Nobody. Nobody's going to judge you. I'll cheer you on. Now, if it doesn't, and you're like, you maniac, don't finger paint with Velveteen glaze. You need a spatula. You need a palette knife. Then do that. Spatula it up, palette knife it up. Do what you got to do to make your project feel good for you. Because we're all crafting for a reason, right? It's because we enjoy it. So if you hate it, why are you doing it that way? Try something new. So then as I was putting this down on my page, I realized that if I just did this center portion that kind of looks like a flower, I could cut these out. So I was like, alrighty, this is what we're going to do. We are going to put these stencils onto the paper. I'm going to finger paint just around the main portion of the flower, and then I'm going to cut them out. Now, the one stencil has a mixture of both colors. The second time I do it, it is just Peach Bellini, and then the third time I do it, it's just going to be Dijon. And what that ends up doing is it gives me this color value thing going on, where it starts with one kind of hue where it's like a lighter color, and then it gets a little bit darker, and then it gets a little bit darker. I don't know what the art term is for that, where it goes from light to dark. I know that there's probably a cool term for it that my brain just isn't thinking. No, my brain thinks to call you guys babe. That's where we're at today. So now I have those, and they are all dry. Now, I did cheat and used my heat gun, and this is probably pathetic, and I probably shouldn't tell you guys this, but you know, we're on loving terms now because you're all my babes. So I sit here at my craft desk, and when I have to dry something with my heat tool, I usually pull out a glass mat, put the item on it, and just kind of hover the heat tool over it and just hold it there and, move it around because I don't want anything to burn or bubble or anything like that. And I usually read while I do it because I cannot stand just doing one thing at a time. Drives me crazy. So I read a couple chapters of a book while I was heat gunning, and I read fast, so please don't think I was like heat gunning for hours. I'm a very fast reader, so didn't take long. I was kind of disappointed. I didn't have more time to read. So now I have these 3 stenciled flowers, and you can kind of see how they go from lighter to dark. Now I grabbed a white sheet of cardstock again, and I was like, no, I don't like this. It's not really popping off the page at all, and I needed to pop a little bit more. Now I couldn't use khaki colored cardstock because I've already used the khaki colored cardstock as my photo mat. And that, it looks great. The photo mat looks great with the photo. I don't want to mess that up. I don't want to change around things. We're just going to go with it. So I grabbed this French vanilla cardstock is what I call it because it reminds me of French vanilla ice cream. I have no idea what the proper name is. Make up stuff as you go along. And then I decide, okay, now this is just one big expansive space and I need to contain it. So I grab another sheet of khaki colored cardstock. I trim down that French vanilla cardstock. Maybe I should just call it the ice cream cardstock. I don't know. I trim that down to an 11 by 11 inch sheet of paper, and then I'm going to place it on top of the khaki cardstock. So I have a nice thick border around it. And I decided to go with such a thick border because these florals that I've cut out are big. They're a big floral. So I wanted the layout to feel big and bold. I didn't want to have this tiny little border around the outside when I've got these ginormous flowers on my layout. I want it to keep the scale kind of similar. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck them in, and I'm just going to kind of go in a diagonal down the page. So it's going from the upper left to the bottom right. And then I am going to trim off the little bits that pop out over the edge. So I have this extra bit, and I was like, no, I'm not going to add any more to this. I like this diagonal thing. I like how it's looking. And then I decide, you know what would be cool is if these floral petals popped up a little bit. So I go ahead and grab some foam dots, some foam squares, whatever. It's puffy foam. And I just put one underneath of each of the little floral petals. And I'm only putting them underneath of the floral petals that are full floral petals. The ones that are tucked under the photo or, hanging off the page, they're not getting popped up. Just the ones where you see the entire floral. Now, in the video, it doesn't really look like it's popped up a whole heck of a lot. I guess that's just, the angle of the camera and all that kind of good stuff. But it does, you can see it in real life. Now I'm going to place on my absolute favorite sequins. And these are the gold glitter sequins. And you can get them on the website. As of yesterday, I was doing some shopping last night on the Brutus Monroe website. I haven't hit shop yet, or I haven't hit shop. I haven't hit buy yet because I need to get up to that $75 threshold so I can get me some free shipping going on. But I put the gold sparkle sequins in my cart because I'm almost out of them, and that would be a travesty if I ran out of the gold sparkle sequins. So as of last night, they were there. Now I am making sure to flip them over so that the super sparkly side is what you see and not the less of a sparkly side. And they are still sparkly no matter which side of the sequin you have facing up. I just want that extra bit. I decide to put 3 little dots of sequins in the center of each flower, and then I'm just kind of sprinkling them along the diagonal as well in groups of 3. Now, I do forget to put the sequins in the center of the flower down here at the bottom. I rectify that later, sometime while I'm still working on this layout. It wasn't like oh crap, I forgot this. But then I decide, you know what? I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more coming out from behind the photo. It's just not enough. So I cut off the petal that is tucked up underneath, and then that offcut that I, tossed into the bin. I pulled it right on out of that bin, you guys, and then I'm going to tuck it here on the photo. And I think that it works. It works for a couple reasons. I need it extra around Lana. Like I wanted her to be like, this is Lana. So I think it also works because I have a certain amount of weight to the page up at the top, where it's a lighter color of Velveteen Glaze, and then it gets darker at the bottom. And then it just adds a little bit more weight to the bottom of the page as well. So it's not just weight by color, it's also weight by the amount of stuff that's on the page. And you guys know, normally I am a more is more kind of girl, but I really don't think this layout needed more. I feel like this layout is pretty impactful, just with the few products that I use. This is where I realized I forgot to glue sequins down to the center of that flower, so I had to add more glue. And then I went ahead and used these Slimline Dies. They're great. They have the rectangle for your slimline cards, and then it has words like happy birthday, hello, I'm sorry, and thank you. So I went ahead and die cut out the happy birthday, and it's really awesome because it die cuts the shadow and the individual letter. So I'm just going to glue these bad boys down. And I didn't show you, I didn't show you my die cutting because my plates are all cracked and broken, and it just looks rough. Need to get me some new plates. Need to do that. So I am using just a liquid glue to put these down, and I decided to go with white on top of the khaki color just because I want it to have that pop. And even though in the video right now, the white on the flowers that I cut out isn't really popping in real life, like without the big overhead light and all that, without that, it is white. Like you can tell it is white on top of this French vanilla ice cream cardstock. So that is why I decided to go ahead and go with the white on top of the khaki here. In case you were wondering, because the white on the letters really do pop, but you're kind of like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? I'm just making it happen, guys. That's what's happening. So I go ahead and pop out the last of the letters. Most of them came out of the die, but, a couple of them stuck in there. But the Brutus Monroe dies are awesome. They do have little pokey holes so that if it gets stuck in there, you can just pop it out with a little pokey tool. So I decide to put the happy birthday up here at the top, and then I go ahead and add a couple more of those gorgeous, gorgeous, shining, shimmering, splendid sequins, and that makes me happy. And now I need to add a little bit of journaling, and I am going to use a black pen for my journaling. I have this orange pen, and I was just trying to see what it would look like on top of this cardstock, and it comes out orange, like pour me a glass of orange juice orange, and that is not what I wanted at all. So I'm just using a black pen to go ahead and write out my journaling, and I'm just talking about how it was super fun to celebrate Lana's birthday in Disneyland. And we just had a great time shopping, and she had tried on this America hat and loved it. She always looks so good in a hat. She's one of those people that just looks good in a hat. Any kind of hat, it doesn't matter. She looks good in it. But she didn't end up buying it. But it was just fun. It was just fun hanging out. So I'm just going to wrap up that journaling. And then I actually outline the French vanilla cardstock in black too. You'll be able to see that in the photos here shortly. I just felt like it needed a little bit more. There you can see the black outlining there. So there it is, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again real soon for another video.